And looks like twin harp required. So anyone who wants music, you're in the right place. Looks like the only boss hunt is going to be that Mylon, so we're going to be looking for that. No character hunt in this one, so whatever characters our runners want to use can go ahead and turn it in. It looks like we had a Baron key start too, so that's opening up a couple of shops as we see on RPGamer's screen onto the left here.
And you may be thinking that that vanilla Masamune altar objective is a pretty bum deal, considering you have to fight a pretty hard boss for it, but we do have the Summon Monster Quest and Moon bosses in the key item rotation, so the odds were very good that they were going to have to go fight some Moon bosses anyways.
Without a doubt. And oh, sorry, go ahead.
And there are no free items or characters tonight, so we're going to be looking for a pretty sparse start, especially with the starting character here. So we'll see how it goes for them.
Yeah, the upside with the Moon bosses being required is sometimes grinding is a little bit more difficult in the new build of Free Enterprise. Siren's no longer guaranteed to be in shops, but with the Moon bosses being required and the Moon bosses being having potential key items, that's one way that you can use to gain experience along the way. We're going to see if we see either of our runners go and take a peek at the character over at Mount Hobbs. Looks like Lufloof is sitting over there right now.
I'm definitely hoping for a required gauntlet in one of these required locations. I want to see show off that new alternate gauntlet flag that we have set here.
Oh yeah, the new alternate gauntlet is great. For the runners' sakes, I'm sure they're not hoping that is the boss that's at that vanilla Masamune altar, because that is going to be probably the most difficult alt gauntlet possible.
And we do have RPGamer checking Troya Castle. Gonna look in the armory here. This is a bold move because it means you're gonna have to split your treasure hunting if you get the Earth Crystal later. But with this party, I can't say I blame them because we have a very low damage dealing ability with these two characters.
Yeah, anything to find something like a dancing dagger is really going to help. We see the best character in the game, Yang, up at the top of Mount Hobbs there. So that's going to be a little bit more firepower, but he does need some help sometimes.
It is nice to see Yang in any of these Fabul matches, since that is the namesake of the tournament.
Yeah, this is definitely his tournament, without a doubt. See Cure 3s for sale. They're a very useful item for the later game. At this point of the game, they're a little bit of an overcure or overkill for curing, and they're very expensive, but it's useful to have them. And if you can afford to buy them now, then you don't have to buy them later, and you don't have to return back to the shop.
Yeah, I mean, Cure 3s can even stand in for a White Mage if you end up not finding one until very late.
Or not at all. I mean, sometimes you've got to use what you've got available to you, and if you got something like a Sid or even a Yang who can do a decent job as a chemist throwing those Cure 3s around.
Yeah, not too shabby. Looks like Lufloof is going to get through this officer's fight in Hobbs here and get out of here. Not getting the maximum amount of EXP, but at this point you're just looking to kind of get the character and get out.
And it looks like on RPGamer's side, it looks like she was able to find an Elven Bow. That's going to make Edward a little bit more powerful as an attacker, because it's just one of the top tier bows in the game, and so that's going to help out a lot.
Oh, we get a poison axe here in Antlion Cave. That's going to be great if we find Sid or any other character who can equip an axe. We're just looking for some better way to deal damage, and that is a good mid-level item for that.
Alternatively, you can sell it for a lot of money, and if you can find an attack item like a vampire or something, you can cash that poison axe in for a lot of damage healing items.
Yeah, there's a reason Antlion Cave is both the easiest boss spot that will give you a key item, as well as a good opportunity for treasure looting. You would not see a lot of players skip out on the treasure chests in here. Even with the standard flags, it's quite good density.
Yeah, and just like both for getting those items, like if you could be lucky enough to find something like a dancing dagger, that would be useful, or just the money that you need in order to buy the items that you need. Ooh, and it looks like we found something really important over here in Fabul. We found Mylon and the Ghasts. This is one of the boss that we need to find is one of our 5 objectives.
Yeah, and you never know. Some players do opt to skip Fabul Castle, even though it's one of the easier boss spots. So hopefully we will see RPGamer go there right after Antlion.
Yeah, I know sometimes in my routing I try to route Sheila, the Pan, and the Fabul Gauntlet all in one. I don't know if I would in this with these flags specifically, since I know we're going to need the Pan, just in case Fabul is the Pan, but I don't know. I guess it would just be what I feel like. And luckily for Lufloof, he's not stupid.
We do see Bahamut in the Antlion Cave. We can see still taking quite a long time to deal that amount of damage, but getting through it okay.
Yeah, getting through there at default level, Palom and Edward is pretty rough. Luckily, Palom becomes a lot more formidable with just a couple levels. We get that Darkness Crystal. That's going to be an important one because we're going to need that in order to get to that Mazamune altar. This also is going to open up another shop on the moon and a character check.
Yeah, this is a really great item to know that you've got early, so very lucky break for the runners today. They know they have access to one of their objectives now. They know they have access to that new shop. They know they have Zeromus access just in case they never find a pass. So that takes a big weight off of their minds really early in the match.
Yeah, a lot of things that they need to do are the boxes checked off right now, so that's good.
And we see at Fabul Castle, we get a no can do on the key item. Getting a ribbon though, very useful head armor, so can't say no to that.
Yeah, ribbon being one of the most versatile pieces of equipment, because everybody except I think for Dark Knight pieces use it, and it's just really good magic defense, really good protection against status ailments. Just a very useful item overall.
We're seeing very good damage item usage out of RPGamer here. Back in the Antlion Cave, she used a Stardust in order to kind of get through Bahamut earlier because she knew she didn't have the damage quickly otherwise, and used the Thor Rage here in this battle as well. Not because it was necessary for survival, but just to get that extra bit of speed.
Yeah, this is a race. We gotta go fast. And Lufloof found a samurai bow in the pot in the throne room at Fabul. Another one of those top tier bows. A little bit better than the elven bow for the characters that we have. Specifically for Edward, it raises his strength, I believe, by 10. And so that's going to be a boon if he's going to be using Edward as an archer throughout the early part of this scene.
We see a little bit of strategy change here. Lufloof going to ordeals. This could be another. A lot of runners like to skip ordeals until it's kind of clear that they're going to have to go there. In this situation, the EXP is going to be a little more useful than usual, though, with this party. So I can see this definitely being a good play.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think the fact that somebody like a Palom really benefits from those extra levels of experience. If we could get him up to at least that virus level, if not the Quake level, that's just going to make him even more useful in battle through the early and mid part of this scene.
Yeah, once you can get Quake, the overworld pretty much will crumble unless you get a really bad boss placement.
Quake, of course, being learned much earlier by Palom than the other Black Mage, Rydia, in this game. Why he's affectionately known as Quake Kid. So that's kind of the goal with Palom. After that, the rest of his spells that he learns are... He learns, like, the level 3 magic is pretty good in situations, but most of the time you're just like, Quake, Quake, Quake. That's just what he does in battle. Get Cooped asking, where was Mylon? Mylon is in Fabul. We're just about to see it on RPGamer screen right now.
Yeah, and I mean, we should note here that lufloof did not go to Antlion Cave, so missing a little bit of that looting, and also doesn't yet know that the Darkness Crystal is there.
Yeah, and RPGamer has gone straight to Fabul afterwards, not going and checking the character or the shop on the moon before doing this. So that's just a routing decision. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, it's just what's happening. That's something that's available to her that she hasn't taken a look at. Not that she's going to have any problem with this one, I don't think.
Yeah, we should be noting that the shop setting here is standard, meaning shops that are gated, being underground or on the moon, are actually more powerful. They contain more powerful items than the overworld shop. So that shop on the moon could be a game changer.
Yeah,
now, unfortunately for RPGamer, she just used all her money on Starveils here in Fabul, so if she finds something good in that moon shop, she's not going to be able to buy it yet.
If you're going to find items like Bacchus wines or sirens in shops, or hourglasses, I believe, are gated now, are going to be... That's one of the shops that will have those.
Dark Elf on Ordeals getting taken down here. This Yang's about to do some work, I think, until Palom gets Quake.
He kind of has to. There's not a whole lot going on. I mean, the level 2 elemental spells work in a lot of battles, but not all. But yeah, Yang is who they're going to be depending on. Here's the back attack on Mount Ordeals, and we see Ashura.
Oh, that's not nice. I mean, the thing is, we know that Starveils are available, so we can pull a little double Starveil action to get a Reflect onto her. That should keep your party pretty safe, as her heals will bounce to you, but this is still going to be a lot of HP to get through with a counterattack every time you hit her. It's just going to take time, a lot of time.
Yeah, and this is where that Elven bow that RPGamer had found would come in a lot more than the Samurai bow, because the Elven bow hits mage-type enemies for 4 times damage, and Ashura counts as a mage-type enemy. But lufloof does not have that, just has that Samurai bow. So the damage is going to be... The damage output is not going to be as strong.
Yeah, but, lufloof is taking advantage of the fact that they had to reflect their own Yang in order to get the Reflect on Ashura, so going ahead and bouncing some double level spells off of Yang there.
That's probably going to be the best source of damage that lufloof has during this fight. So yeah, that's a good way of getting through this fight at this point, without a doubt.
RPGamer doing some shopping too before checking any more boss spots. It's pretty thorough work.
I think it's not a bad idea to go and make a run around the world. There is that dancing dagger. That's going to be huge for Edward. Having that knowledge of what's available to you in shops can help you with your routing throughout the seed.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, RPGamer just saw vampires in that shop, which she didn't have any money to buy some, but They are can be very useful if you're in some very specific jams to know, oh, I'll just go to Severa and get some of those.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it looks like she's going to go ahead and equip that Dancing Dagger right away. That's going to be, at this point, probably going to out-damage even Yang in combat. The first half of the seed, that Dancing Dagger can really do a lot of work. Of course, in order to get it to do what it does, you use it as an item instead of attack with it. And it does, somewhere between like 350 and 500 damage. And that's just really useful for a character who's usually hitting for like 50.
Well, we can see here as well where RPGamer's extra looting is really helping her, because she's now just one boss behind Lufloof here on Ordeals, but RPGamer has done Antlion Cave and Lufloof has not, so these bosses are going to be faster for RPGamer as well.
That's the pay or the trade-off for looting all that. Those places that look like they might have been a little superfluous, like that Troya Treasury, ended up helping RPGamer at this point in the run. And just the way that you mentioned that with us. Plus, RPGamer is going to have some more tools available to her than Lufloof has for this Ashura fight. Lufloof getting through that very well played. Took patience, but he knew what he had and knew what could be done against it, and did it very well. RPGamer is going to have the Dancing Dagger as well as that Elven Bow as options in that fight as well.
Yeah, I definitely think we're going to see Ashura go down much faster on RPGamer's side, and maybe get a little bit of a leapfrog here. I guess it's already a leapfrog, but let's see here what is on Ordeals.
Tower key. So we still don't have a way underground. We know that we have a way to the moon at the Darkness Crystal. On the blue planet, we still have Barren Inn. We haven't seen checked, and the Barren Key was our starting item. So that's another place where we can look for a key item as well. 2 key items if you count the vanilla Odin spot.
Yeah, and I was just about to say, we can expect them to put off the Baron Key until they think they would have a shot against the Odin spot, just so that they don't have to double dip, but at this point it might actually be necessary to progress.
Yeah, and that's going to depend on a couple of things as well, because with that Darkness Crystal, the character that you get up at the moon might kind of guide you to whether or not, like if that's a really good character, then Baron becomes less important because of that character. Like, how much you value that character check at Baron is kind of be the X factor as to how soon you want to go there, I think. Especially if you're considering going there before you feel like you're able to take on the whole stuff.
Yeah, and actually, Maggie the Cat reminding us that we have seen that Mist Dragon is the midway boss in Baron Castle, so that does give it extra value. That is a key item.
Oh, I might have missed that at the beginning, because I didn't know that we knew where Mist Dragon was. That's huge. Then I think that definitely puts more of a priority on Baron Castle. And if you're able to do Baron Inn on the way, all the better. You can just route that all in one.
Yeah, and as expected, we see Lufloof heading to Baron Inn right now. Oh, and that is a cane. That's what the type of thing we want to see right now.
Yeah, Kane's going to be a lot more reliable, I mean, with the right equipment than Yang is in the early part of the game. At the end game, they're both really good, but in the early game, if you got the right equipment, Kane doesn't need as much help as Yang does.
Yeah, I don't know about armor, but I know we have found some good axes, and Kane can equip those, so that's some damage.
And now the other Mylon falls to the foot. We see the second fight is it going to be? It is Rubicon.
Not an awful spot to find Rubicon, but not a nice spot to find him either.
And we see lufloof changing up the arrows there. He has the ice arrows in his inventory, so that's going to really help against this fight.
Yeah, and you hate to see Rubicon at a spot where you don't even get EXP for him, too.
And making use of that Dancing Dagger, RPGamer has taken care of Ashura as well.
Another strikeout at the Baron Inn. Stardust Rod, though, is a very good piece of equipment for our Quake kid.
Yeah, the best rod in the game. Just a really good boost to his wisdom stat, which is the black magic stat in this game. Plus, if in a pinch, you can use it as an item to do a comet spell. Just so very useful, all things considered.
Wow, I don't even know the last time I saw someone go unlock the Baron weapon and armor shop was.
I do. It was when RPGamer did it earlier this season.
Yeah, and that's just part of the new regime with the new updates to the randomizer. Shops are a little bit more useful than they may have been in the past because treasure is equally less powerful. There's a lot less chance that you're going to find something game-changing in a treasure chest than there was in previous versions, depending on your settings, of course.
And speaking of useful shops, we see the cursed ring for sale in the armor shop in Baron. That's a huge pickup. Just a very good way to manipulate your agility so that you can go faster than the bosses in a lot of situations. We might see that later down the line. It usually isn't something that you use in the early part of a seed, but into the mid to late game, that can be the difference between whether or not you're able to beat a boss at a lower level.
Game Boy F9 in chat asking how easy is it to find a siren in these settings, and the answer is not very easy. The shops are weighted. Sirens are only going to be in basically an endgame shop, and they are not guaranteed either.
Yeah, a lot of these seeds have been people finding one or two sirens in chests throughout the run, and that's all that they have, which makes making sure that you've got alternative grinds available to you and knowing what they are, whether it be a D machine grind in the giant, whether it's if you have to fight all the bosses in the lunar subterrane, if you fight the behemoths in Cave Bahamut, the doors. There's a lot of things that you've got to think about if you don't have sirens available, and what's going to be the best for you in this scene.
And here's another bit of awesomeness here. This is the first time that the Free Enterprise community has done 1v1 in a 1v1 event, and it's great to see such a route diversion here because we see RPGamer shooing Baron and going to the moon instead while Lufloof is checking Baron.
Yeah, we'll see how much RPGamer wants to actually do on the moon, or maybe she just wants to check that item shop at the city.
Yeah, I mean, it loses no time to do the lunar whale cutscene now because she knows they have to go to the moon at some point anyways because it's a required objective. So get it out, watch it now, watch it later, same difference.
We won't know whether or not, or I guess it would be better to say you're going to have to do it at some point. So if you wanted to check the shops, might as well do it. It's not a reason to not go to Mysidia, basically. I know how to talk.
We do see that Mist Dragon, not going to be a problem at this point for Lufloof here.
And Demas hitting Kane a little hard, but that's because he's still at default level. The magic, especially with the boosted wisdom from Palom, that Fire 2 hitting for 1,000 damage, and Demas isn't weak to fire. So that just shows how strong that Stardust Rod is in boosting the magic.
Yeah, about to get a missed counterattack here.
And it looks like RPGamer might be a little bit higher in levels because Palom just learned Virus over on RPGamer's side. And that might be the difference of doing Antlion and not doing Antlion. Virus generally stronger than the level 2 magic. I think it eats through some magic defense. You'll have to correct me on that if that's not right. But it also has a very short charge time, and so it's just very useful, especially if you're doing single targeting, until you get Quake, and Quake is just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, the reason that people love the Virus spell is that you don't have to really worry about enemy absorption because there's very few enemies, and if I'm not mistaken, no bosses that absorb Virus. So you know you're at least not going to heal them even if you forget what the enemy resistances are. And it just has great damage versus the level 2 spells as well.
And so RPGamer's picked up Kane and the Stardust Rod. Yeah, it looks like we have lots of great equipment for Kane there. With that Governor Spear, the Aegis Shield. That's just going to make him a tank really early. It looks like lufloof going back for a safety save after that. Better to do that. Like with a boss like D-Mist, if you're not able to, like if you're not a super high level where you're able to just like overwhelm it and kill it before it turns into mist, if you have to wait through the cycles, you do not want to fight it again. So in case he gets punked by Wyvern or something in the next fight, it's better to have gone and saved so you don't have to deal with a long fight like D-Mist again. So I think that's actually a pretty smart save.
Oh yeah, I'd be taking that save anytime in Lufloof's position, just because I really wouldn't want to risk having to wade through that D-Mist fight again.
Yeah, it's a slog of a fight where you just have to sit there and wait in mist form.
RPGamer once again is on Lufloof's heels going into Baron, so pretty soon both players will basically have done the same things with the exception of Antlion Cave, but Lufloof's going to go there eventually because they're out of stuff to do. They got to go there after this.
Well, we'll see. There might be some progression either here, granted through Baron, or we've got Rydia's mom to check out Mist as well. As it turns out, the fight after D-Mist is one that's, I'll say, free-ish. It's not like King Queen Evelyn free, but it's pretty close. Dr. Luge is usually a pretty easy fight.
Yeah, you're helped out a lot by the fact that the battle is split into 2 phases, which means, of course, the health pool is split. The way Free Enterprise works is the bosses are replaced, but they keep basically the stats of whatever that spot is supposed to have. So you basically take a boss, split its HP in half, meaning you kill both halves very quickly.
And that's part of the reason why the boss at the top of the tower, where Luge would normally be, is a very high HP spot. Like all of these chunks of the fight are added together for that HP, and so it can make any fight there be not necessarily tough, but you have to deal a lot more damage.
Yeah, and we're gonna see here just how much the levels will have helped the RPGamer, because this Mist Dragon's gonna go down a lot faster.
Yeah, and having access to using Virus in that fight versus the Fire 2 just made that go a lot faster. It was like 600 more damage per spell.
I wouldn't be surprised to not see RPGamer save, and save even more time.
Yeah, I think you might be right with that, because I think... yep, she's just going right up. Because if it's not as much of a slog to get through that fight, then what you're gonna have to redo is not as bad, and that walk back to that save point might be more time than the refight. So that's what you gotta do.
We see Cecil in Baron.
Cecil's a very, very strong character, especially since we've already completed Ordeals.
Yeah, we're still looking for a white mage here, which I would assume would replace Edward, but Cecil's a very good find. If you can get one of his top 3 weapons, you're basically talking a one-man Zeromus killer at that point.
With Kane, Cecil, and Yang in the party, it looks like you're going to want to get that white mage so you could do Zeromus, or you could do Berserker strats. Looks like we see a Magma Key, so I'm not sure how soon Lufloof is going to head to that Antlion Cave at this point with the Magma Key in possession.
Lufloof showing us the objective tracker feature in-game. If you ever forget what you're doing, the game will tell you what objectives you have and which ones you have not done yet. So very nice. The quality of life in Free Enterprise is like just really great after so many revisions.
And so once RPGamer is done with this Dr. Luge fight, she'll basically have almost the entire game open to her at this point. Having both the Darkness Crystal and the Magma Key, so both the Underground and the Moon, as well as the Overworld, all available.
Yeah, so to kind of recap for everyone, since RPGamer is about to have a lot of routing decisions to be able to make, we still need the key items that our players need to beat the game at this point are the Pan, the Sand Ruby, and the Twin Harp. Once they have those items, they will have access to be able to complete all the objectives, hypothetically.
Looks like the Adamant is the item that Rydia's mom is having. If we can find the Legend Sword, we can go to Kokol's shop and have Kokol forge Excalibur, which is one of the aforementioned 3 best weapons for Cecil in the game. Very good for him. It also opens Kokol's shop, which is a gated shop, another place where you can get really good stuff.
Yeah, this is looking very good for RPGamer right now.
But it's also kind of scary, because when you've got so much open to you, you feel that pressure. It's like, what if I go the wrong way or anything like that? Luckily, for Lufloof's side, he didn't forget that he has that Antlion Cave to do, so he's going to get that Darkness Crystal and be in the same position as RPGamer very soon.
Yeah, and this is where things can get dicey, because although we still need 3 key items, there's so many spots available to our runners now at this point that differences in routing can really change the game as far as the lead.
Yeah, at this point, really, it's anybody's game, and anyone it could be anywhere. Like, nowhere is the right place, like mathematically speaking, or the game isn't pointing you in one direction. You've just gotta make your best guess. I think somewhere like the tower might not be a bad place to go with, since there's 2 key item checks. Once you're feeling that you're good enough to head to the moon, you can take that Mazamune altar as well as all the other key item locations that are on the moon, and that's a place that you can go. But really, the world is your oyster.
Yeah, and at this point, I would expect. It's hard to say what I would do in this position, but I would expect RPGamer is going to go underground just because there are some free checks to be done, and free is good.
Yeah, free is definitely nice.
And I mean, the really good thing for them right now is that the one objective that they didn't know where that was going to be the hardest to track down, which is defeat Mylon, which could be in any of the 30-something boss positions they've already fought. So, the thing that they were most worried about going into the match is already over.
Right. So now it's more of a key item hunt, because there's just as you mentioned before, those 3 key items that we need in order to complete the objectives. And those are generally easier to find than a specific boss or a specific character. But who knows? I mean, one of them could be the end of a very long rabbit hunt.
Oh yeah, this randomizer will always surprise you. I don't think I've ever been in a race where I could say definitely, oh yeah, I'm feeling great right now. You never feel good. You never feel great about your progress when you're racing.
Or when you do, that's when you see, well, in this case, since it's 1v1, you're not going to see like 5 people done right when you enter the Zerubus fight.
Yeah, that's another big difference. So like our normal community races have anywhere from like 10 to 20 racers. Here in the 1v1 format, there's no metagaming at all. You have no information whatsoever other than what's on your screen.
And then that makes it be like, how do you gamble differently when you're only facing against one other person rather than a big group of people? Like, do you take the higher risk play against one person, or are you more conservative? That's kind of what it's all about here, like making those decisions.
Lufloof showing us the underground first, surprisingly, going to Tamra, finding nothing in the shop that they want to buy, and let's see, going to the weapon and armor shop. Ooh, crystal hat, dragoon hat. There's some good stuff there. Not enough cash right now, though.
Light sword, rune axe, ninja sword. That is a samurai arrows. That is a stacked weapon shop in Tomra.
Yeah, and I do see this crystal armor in Lufloof's inventory, which you may see equipped to Cecil at some point, but will definitely be taken off before the Zeroma's fight, because the crystal armor protects you from all status effects, including Berserk, and we're going to want Cecil to be berserked for sure.
Yeah, if I've got a decent set of armor other than the crystal armor, I'll sell that crystal armor without hesitation. I much prefer Dragoon armor to crystal.
We got another diversion here. RPGamer not checking any shops here, just getting straight to the business of the free item check in Feymarch, and probably going to at least peek the 2 bosses down here as well, who can both have free key, or not free, but they can have key items as well.
Also going to be able to check the shops down here in the Feymarch as well. Another weapon shop, armor shop, and item shop, all available, that are the gated ones that can have the better items. Just a Leviathan summon in the Rat Tail vanilla chest, so no key item there.
Womp womp.
And I don't think lufloof checked the job, dwarf. So that's a thumbs down for me.
Well, and I heard that neither of our players in the very first race of this tournament checked it either, but I can't blame them. In the 1v1 format, you have one objective. You have to beat the other person, and really, I've seen races come down to the wire. Checking the employment dwarf is not a winning strategy when you're in a 1v1. I know it's a fan favorite, but you got to get what I would say a little ruthless when it comes to 1v1.
A couple interesting things found in the Feymarch here. In one of the chests, there was a siren. So right now we have found one siren for experience purposes. The bosses down at the bottom of the Feymarch were Baigen and a lunar boss. That Baigen, and I believe it was the Baigen in the Leviathan spot, that is a very scary fight.
Yeah, we're not gonna see those bosses tackled right now, for sure.
Well, it looks like RPGamer is gonna go ahead and cash in that siren right away. Get those levels, make the mid portion of this seed go a lot smoother. Meanwhile, lufloof finding Mom Bomb in Dwarf Castle.
I really like the change of strategies here. Lufloof is just going for straight up, I'm checking what's in front of me. RPGamer was going for the risk reward. Using the siren here, I think, is a very good play because you wouldn't think a few levels would make that much of a difference, but it can really trivialize the underground bosses just to have a few more levels on yourself.
Hopefully this virus will be enough to finish off this yellow dragon, and I believe it is, so that's good. Lufloof heading down to the bottom of the Feymarch. Going without the pan, this is going to unlock Sheila 1. Sheila 2, which is where you return the pan to Sheila, is going to be one of our objectives. We've got Quake on Palom, that's huge, and Cecil earning a boatload of levels for one fight there too, so that's going to make him a lot stronger. We've got a stronger Palom. That's just a lot more peace of mind. Going to make the middle part of the scene a lot easier for RPGamer here.
I'm really interested in the fact that neither one of these racers exhausted their free item checks underground before they checked some non-free spots. We saw lufloof went to Dwarf Castle first, is now doing Tower. Now they do have the Tower key, so this is a good play, 2 checks in 1. But RPGamer also not doing a Sylph Cave, instead opting to go to Dwarf Tower. Oh, there are sirens in Dwarf Castle shop. Look, there we go.
All right, so this is not a sirenless seed. We definitely have probably the fastest way or the most reliable way of grinding available to us in Free Enterprise with the siren grind is now available. And is this even randomized? Dark Imps in the cannon room?
You hate to see a weak boss in this position because it would be much better to see someone very strong. But unfortunately, lufloof did not heal after diving Sylph Cave, and so this could actually be kind of dangerous.
Yeah, they're hitting kind of hard, and without hourglasses available to them, this is turning into a much more difficult fight than you would think. Hopefully the virus will do enough, and the Dark Imps are down, so...
That was a little touch and go for lufloof there. That was a rude reminder. Make sure you heal before you get out of anything after doing Sylph Cave or Feymarch.
And the Dark Imps, I think, are probably the one most affected by the change of what items are available where. With the hourglasses being a lot less prevalent in this flag set, those Dark Imps are a lot scarier than they used to be.
Yeah, I mean, under older styles of play in Free Enterprise, hourglasses were much more available, and I mean, the Dark Imps were a trivial boss. You'd either coffin them or hourglass them and whatever. But now, they do. That's people forget because they're killed so easily that they also do still hit hard.
Yeah, it often depends on the location that you find them in, but They're like, if you see them in a place like King Queen Evelyn or something, they can really do a number. And the fact that there's 3 of them, they punch 3 times every round. That's they can be very scary.
So Lufloof did not go to the top of the tower. I don't know if that's because they don't have cabins, but opting to actually leave, getting the pan for their troubles though from the cannon room.
Ooh, that is the Penguinator Half Tower Special. And getting the required key item of the pan from there is huge.
Just don't want to forget if they're still hunting later that they did not do the top of tower.
Yeah, that's another one. But Lufloof, we were afraid might have forgotten about Antlion and didn't. So that's good. So I'm sure Lufloof is not going to forget about top of tower. And by me saying I'm sure he won't, means he absolutely will not forget. Meanwhile, RPGamer has gone further in Dwarf Castle than Lufloof was able to, and has found Edge. And so now getting an even more punchy party, getting Edge replacing Edward. And whoo, a couple of characters survived the opening Mega Nuke from Wyvern, so RPGamer is going to be able to get back into this, it looks like. Going straight to the Quake.
Actually missed Palom, so that's nice. Should be able to get through this. It's the second battle, though, with such a beat-up party that's going to be kind of tricky. Oh, this is the second battle. No problem. Get out of here.
Yeah. I think Palom probably had the ribbon with that extra magic defense, able to dodge that Mega Nuke. So that was really nice and able to get through what could have been a very scary fight. Sand Ruby from Sheila won.
That's a twofer here. Complete the objective, get another required item. Very nice.
And a Moonveil from Sheila 2 is it's not a key item, but it is a very useful item.
Well, it's always nice when your required quest chain for your objectives just hands you another required item.
Yeah, that's huge. And so now the only Twin Harp found.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, I was just gonna say the only thing we need to find is the Twin Harp. That half tower, that might be the difference in this game.
So much value within a minute. We saw all of the key items that they still need, all within the same minute between their 2 screens. That's crazy.
Now we still don't have. Oh, that's Quorum in the Sand Ruby spot. So we've got a white mage too. Wow, everything happened just in the last 5 minutes here.
Yeah, so that means all they have to do is basically go do Cave Magnus, which should be trivial for them at this point, and then get up, beat the Mazamoon boss, and get enough levels for Zeromus, and we're off. Let's go.
Yeah, with all the punchy that this party has available to them, the Twin Harp boss shouldn't be too tough. But that Mazamoon altar is one of the most difficult ones. I'm hoping for Alt Gauntlet there now, because we'll see. Game Boy Wyvern is not still on the list. Wyvern is in Dwarf Castle. And so that's something that Lufloof still has to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, Lufloof has got to go back to Dwarf Castle, which they may be hesitant to do for a bit. RPGamer has to check the tower, which they haven't done yet, but I assume we'll be going to here shortly.
Looks like RPGamer wants to crack a few more eggs here.
Just got to be careful here. That counterattack may take out the low HP characters and waste the experience.
Yeah, I might just wait until Palom's turn and just Quake to make sure that it'll get killed in one shot. And yeah, that's exactly what she does. Lufloof, not forgetting, is heading back to Dwarf Castle. Might be just for the sirens right now. Hopefully, won't be long before he goes and completes the battles and takes care of that mom bomb that smacked him around a little bit earlier.
Yeah, and the wyvern at this spot is not super dangerous. We see that even without getting a star veil off, you have characters who can survive it, especially considering you can do some level grinding beforehand. So wyvern not going to be kind of the roadblock that we usually expect it to be.
Now here comes RPGamer. The odds of seeing somebody else go for the found a light sword. Opened a random chest. Finds that holy sword.
It's not Cecil's best weapon, but it gets him onto a very, very contributory mode.
Beowulf, is Baigan a possibility at Mazamune Altar? No, because Baigan is found at the bottom of the Feymarch in the Leviathan spot.
Once both of these runners go through what each other have done, they're going to be quite happy that they don't have to fight those bosses at the bottom of the Feymarch for sure.
Oh, without a doubt. I think they would be breathing a huge sigh of relief to not have to fight that Baigan at the Leviathan spot. Though there are definitely a lot of scary bosses that could be in that Mazamune spot. Like I said, I'm hoping for the alternate gauntlet.
Now, we know that RPGamer is kind of wasting their time up here, but EXP is always welcome. And you never know, it could be the pass. The pass is in the key item rotation tonight. Right now, we haven't seen it. I would expect both of our runners to do the Mazamune Altar last, strictly because they'll be given the Crystal Den, and they'll already be on their way to Zeromus the regular way. But if one of them gets the pass, then we could see a change of strategy.
We see RPGamer making use of alternate ways to deal damage to the antlions and not provoke its counterattack. Not that the counter will be super dangerous at this point, but if you can avoid it, might as well, right? Hey, Tower Sheep, we all love the new layout as well.
Yeah, we got to give some kudos, not just to Boardface, who created this randomizer and has given us all these wonderful updates to it, but the Free Enterprise admin team has been working tirelessly behind the scenes to make this tournament go off without a hitch, coming up with the method, the rules, all the monitoring, and all of these new layouts. So, got to give some kudos to all of them.
So Lufloof now able to purchase those sirens.
Yeah, here very shortly, these two players are going to be basically neck and neck again.
Yeah, depending on how fast Lufloof goes back into the... Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry about that. He didn't defeat Wyvern yet, did he? Or did I miss that?
No, I don't believe
no,
that.
No, he doesn't have Twin Harp yet. Okay. No, okay. So depending on how long it takes for Lufloof to go back to Dwarf Castle and complete that, that could be the difference in a lead that we've got here. Because we've got the... it looks like he's going to be able to catch up on experience by doing this little egg grind here. That's something that RPGamer has already done, but RPGamer has spent more time through this doing the full tower instead of just the half tower that Lufloof did. So that's some time to make up. We'll see where everybody goes. This pan that RPGamer is going to be getting after completing the tower here is probably going to push her do the Sheila arc, which is going to get her the Sand Ruby, and so then she'll have basically in her possession everything that she needs in order to complete the game. Whereas Lufloof's still missing that twin heart.
Well, and we can't forget as well, at the top of the tower, which Lufloof didn't do, we did find a spoon, which you're like, okay, whatever. But XP and the length of the grind is going to come into consideration here, because basically having all the items they need already means their party isn't quite up to ready to fight Zeromus yet, meaning both of these players are going to need to grind quite a bit more to be kind of safe during the Zeromus fight. And 10 key items will give you double experience. So at the moment, RPGamer doesn't have that, but may get it very shortly.
Another thing to remember is that spoon is something that can be darted by Edward for basically max damage, and that's something that can really come in handy during the Zeromus fight.
Yeah, you wouldn't think a little thing like quad 9's damage would help you that much on the final boss fight, but that's actually pretty significant when you think about kind of how the way the Zeromus fight works and when the phase changes are. It's a pretty big chunk of any single phase of Zeromus.
Well, and even if you're just considering it, like if you're dealing with attacking with Edge, like even with his best weapons, he's doing what, like 2,500 damage a round? So one dart of the spoon is basically like 4 attacks. That's just saving time. Bacon by doing Babel top-down faster. I don't think it really is faster either way, but you usually don't need as much resources to do the second one. So doing the one where you need more resources first kind of makes some sense in my mind. But in this seed, it seems like the Galaxy Brain play was what Lufloof did, and just do halfway up the tower and then leave. Don't even worry about the top.
I do have the feeling here that once RPGamer gets the required items, she's going to boost ahead a little bit here, because she is definitely going to have 10, and the moon gives a lot of experience. So even if she only fights one boss up there, the one she needs to fight, it won't be too much more of a grind after that before she'll have the HP totals necessary for the final battle.
She'll have 9, right? The Sand Ruby is going to be number 9?
Well, when you complete all the objectives, though, you get
the crystal.
The regular crystal. So when she completes all the objectives, she'll already be down in the lunar subterrane. She will have just got 10 key items, only needing some levels. Can just go up a floor, do some double dragons, done.
Okay, yeah, that is true, but the counter argument is you kind of want some. I think you probably want some levels before conquering that Mazamune altar, since that's such a difficult spot, or has the potential to be a very difficult spot. So you're right, but I don't know. It's going to depend on how the runners feel, if how soon they want to head up to that Mazamune altar.
Well, that's true. Now you can have your cake and eat it too here, because you can go up and you can peek what that boss is, and if you don't think you can take it, you're already on the moon. There's already a good grind fight up there. Yes, some people prefer eggs better, but double dragons is just as good. Now, no hourglasses, which is a little bit of an obstacle, but I'm sure RPGamer can figure this out.
Yeah, they're definitely not as safe. Ooh. This is one of those things. I think RPGamer just used a cabin before heading to Cave Magnus, and I think it's usually better not to heal before this fight, since you want that first one to be a wipe anyways. But that's just one of those little things. I found myself doing that, using a cabin before heading up here as well, and every time I do, I kick myself, and I'm like, ooh, that I should.
Oh, my favorite is to use a cabin before you go into the Zeromus fight.
Yeah.
I do it half the time still.
Get Cooped, where's Harp? Harp was from Dwarf Castle.
Now we see Lufloof doing a very substantial egg grind here. Already has Kane and Cecil very close to Zeroma's safe HP levels. Of course, Yang getting there much earlier. I wonder if Lufloof is just trying to get all the grinding done now just to make the rest of the game trivial.
Or at least get to the point where feels like he'll be comfortable doing that Mazamune altar. I think that's the key one, I think. Ooh, had the all metallic equipment set up. That was nice. Very fast. So now it's time for some of DJ Spoonie B's rockin' tunes. I believe this is the battle theme from Final Fantasy III. Oh, Game Boy saying 2. I might have gotten them mixed up.
And we can see that RPGamer had deliberately put on the iron bangle there to make sure.
That's a heads-up equip, without a doubt. And meanwhile, Lufloof is heading back into Dwarf Castle, so it is not going to be that far behind RPGamer. Our tracker, Maggie the Cat, noting that the objective was noted as soon as the music started, and so you could have just walked out of here. I'm not sure if RPGamer was thinking about that heads up. This might not have been something that she's ever encountered. I know I haven't seen it before now. But our restreamer Quadrax saying you have to do the fight happening.
Yeah, taking down those elements very easily there, and getting the item, which we shall see is the Protect Ring. Okay, not a bad item. Mouse cursor still on the screen. The chat is loving this mouse cursor boss.
And talk to the harp. It was Final Fantasy II. Score 1 for Game Boy, 0 for Rex.
Ooh, Lufloof forgoing Edge. Well, that's an interesting choice.
I totally understand that choice, considering how many eggs that he's already cashed in for this party. He's got a good white mage, a good black mage, and 3 frontline fighters. He doesn't need a ninja as well. And at this high level, it doesn't look like he's going to have any problem with his wyvern at all.
So RPGamer going to the moon here, I think it has potentially forgotten, hasn't actually gone to Kaipo.
Yeah,
to wake up.
I think that's right, but It looks like she's going to be going into Cave Bahamut, probably to do the grind. Coop, where was Sandruby again? Sandruby was at Sheila. Sheila 1 was Sandruby.
We see Lufloof coming out, about to retread and get ready to go to the moon themselves.
D Jones 33, I think you're right. I think she forgot to turn in Sandruby.
I also am not sure why RPGamer is fighting this Golbez. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but she has no reason to fight this, right?
Yeah, I think you're right, Motas. I think Gamer might be forgetting that she has that Sandruby in hand.
Wow,
And so it's might be trying to do full clear the moon here.
That would be an unfortunate loss of time. Yeah, the only thing that RPGamer could conceivably get out of this is the pass, but if I'm in this position, I don't know if the pass is worth fighting Golbez at Bahamut's spot.
Well, the other thing, it could be a key item, and that could be the 10th key item before any pre-grinding for the fight at the Masamune altar, but see on Lufloof screen the press select option to get the stats for the equipments there. Another one of those quality of life things for free enterprise. Very useful if you don't have memorized what every piece of equipment of the game does.
Oh yeah, especially since Final Fantasy IV is in the unfortunate situation of not actually, the base game doesn't actually tell you any of the special stats or special effects of any of the armor pieces in game, so that's just another free enterprise quality of life. And we see RPGamer not having too much trouble with Golbez. Starveils basically make this fight free. It just takes a lot of time.
Yeah, as long as you can get the Starveils up before your character succumb to Golbez's magic, then you're usually good at the Golbez fight. And now Lufloof entering that elements fight. And if we're correct, and RPGamer has forgotten that she has that Sandruby, then I think Lufloof might be taking the lead here.
Yeah, RPGamer's gonna have 10 key items and therefore a faster grind, but Lufloof has already grinded like quite a bit. Is almost ready, so it's I'm not sure how much it's gonna stack up, but it's definitely gonna be a lot closer than it appeared before.
Well, it looks like RPGamer might be running low on Starveils. I think she just used her last one on Edge. Hopefully it's going to be enough so that she can get through this fight, because that reflected magic is not doing a lot of damage on Golbez.
Yeah, and you do have to actually hit Golbez for him to die. His reflected magic will not actually kill him. So it's we got a little bit of a situation here for RPGamer. Although you never know, maybe a death here would get her back on track.
Get Cooped, how much HP is in this spot? A lot. I don't have it memorized. But it's not a low amount of HP here in the Bahamut spot.
Yeah, and the one thing that our players would be still looking for that they haven't found yet, either one of them, is Bacchus wines. We would really like to have those for these berserkers.
Well, Golbez asked why, and so that means the fight's over. Huge sigh of relief for RPGamer here. And that is that 10th key item. It is the hook. That does open another shop. We'll see if any of our runners, if either of our runners decide to go there. I mean, I doubt Lufloof's even going to see it. But...
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that could be in Cave Edlin's shop that we would actually be worth the time to get would be those Bacchus wines.
Well, it doesn't look like she is hightailing it to the blue planet right now. She's going right to the lunar palace here. After taking a snooze at the big whale, of course.
Everyone's favorite hotel, except maybe that dirty pot in the Dwarf Castle basement.
So refreshing, though. And we're finally going to see this character check on the moon. After all this time.
And this is where we're going to find out exactly where RPGamer has gone wrong too, because if she starts fighting all the bosses here, we're going to know she's just mistaken about what she still needs. If she goes straight to Masamune, we know maybe she just forgot about the Sand Ruby objective. But the objective screen should kind of remind her at that point.
Yeah, it looks like she's going to the Mirasame altar. Now, this could also be a confusion. Which one's the Masamune, which one's the Mirasame?
Yeah, I mean, if you do not play vanilla Final Fantasy IV and instead just play a whole heck of a lot of free Enterprise, I know that I could not tell you, without having done commentary so much, which of these boss spots was. When I first started this, I couldn't have told you which boss went where, basically, in vanilla Final Fantasy IV.
And I haven't played this game for over 20 years. Definitely knows which one's which. But I can't blame anybody for getting them mixed up. 2 legendary ninja swords that start with M. Yeah. Don't think she had any kamikazes. I think she's trying to set up to kill and then revive Edge for a reset of the count here against Plague, but it's going to be very close. Not sure if it's going
to be down to the wire here.
She at least got Edge back up, and that's huge. That means there's going to be at least some recovery time available, even if the count isn't reset right now. But it does. So she doesn't have to revive anybody else right. She might have to kill and revive Edge again before the end of this fight. But yeah, that was that timing was just there.
Oh, lufloof really wants an agility anchor. Took Tella, got rid of Yang.
I mean, I'm not going to complain about anybody ditching him. And looks like going to go check the shop at the Hummingway abode. I don't think we've seen that one yet. I don't think I remember RPGamer going into this shop. Coffin, Starvale's mallets. I mean, mallets are probably the most useful item in the game, so I mean, I don't know why it's not picking up multiple stacks of 99, but no,
And they're so cheap. I mean, I don't understand it either.
And once again, it looks like RPGamer is actually timing really well with this plague and keeping the count going so that we've got more time to get this fight done. So actually handling this fight really well.
Yeah, I mean, it's really unfortunate and annoying to see Plague in any higher HP spot because the actual Plague boss spot, where it's supposed to be, is the lowest HP spot in the Lunar Subterrane for the very reason that it's kind of like a damage race boss. But yeah, when you put it in a high HP spot, then it becomes just really tedious.
Now that might cost. We just got a miss. Yang trying to attack Edge and got a miss, so this... If she can't finish off the boss right here. Ooh, and Kane not able to do enough damage to Edge. She's trying, but oh my goodness, it's just not happening. This is unfortunate.
Yeah, we've got holding A strats there. Yeah, that'll do it. If you clog up the ATB queue enough, the count never has a chance to go. Just manage to eke out the remaining time that she needed.
Wow, that was intense. And there is our second key item location that was filled with Leviathans.
And no Rydia insights. RIP.
So now we'll see, does she go right to the Mazamune altar, or does she do the other bosses? Looks like we might have some freeze action over a lufloof screen. Oh, looks like he's fighting that flank fight just like she did, so I don't know if he might have gotten them mixed up as well. Of course, he's at a much higher level than RPGamer was, so is able to dish out some more, probably able to dish out the damage a bit faster, but may still have to rely on some revival to redo the count.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really good turn of events for RPGamer that lufloof is doing the same thing.
Gekub Sumasa is before 0. Yeah, the last altar, the vanilla Ogopogo spot in the lunar core, is the Mazamune altar.
Oh, and RPGamer's going to the Wyvern spot. She really has. She doesn't realize she doesn't need any more key items.
Yeah, and if she wanted to grind, she's got the double King Ryu fight available for her and Sirens in the inventory. So this isn't for a grind. She might have forgotten it. If she goes into the tracking menu at any time, she should realize what's going on, but oh, she is. Either that or she doesn't know which one of all of them is the Mazamune altar. This is an annoying place for the CPU fight. I say that for basically every spot in the game. I mean, CPU is just an annoying fight.
So now that she's checked the objectives, I gotta wonder what's going through both of these players' heads right now.
Yeah, I think she doesn't realize she has the standard. The one thing that's going to make this CPU fight a little bit more difficult than it often is RPGamer never found a white mage since she didn't turn in the. Oh, sorry, I just lufloof opened a chest, and it was a Bacchus point. It wasn't a trap chest. Just randomly opening a chest in the lunar subterranean seems really weird. But as I was saying, RPGamer doesn't have a white mage because she didn't turn in that sand ruby. She doesn't have Torum in the party like lufloof does. So that's something. Open another chest.
So these risky opens, I mean, either any one of those could be the red and blue dragon fight, which is one of the most annoying trap chest fights in the game.
Yeah, it's just yeah, I did. Oh, like, I'm just nervous for him.
Yeah, and lufloof eyes on the prize, heading straight down there. So, with being so close, I gotta expect there's not going to be a risk. He's going to go and get the boss, and when defeating it, he's going to go up and save first, and then go straight to Zeromus if he thinks he's got the levels.
I would imagine so, yes. And just the Karate Man.
RPGamer did find the Legend Sword at the Wyvern spot, so she has to go back to the planet anyways to use the Sand Ruby, so may as well turn that in and get the Excal for Cecil.
That is, if she remembers that she has the Sand Ruby.
Well, she's gonna, whether she beats all the bosses here or not, she's gonna have to realize at some point
to go there
out of places. Yeah.
And so now lufloof is in go mode.
Yep, receiving that Earth Crystal, receiving that Crystal, ready to go. And luckily that was a key item in that position, because that does give lufloof 10 key items in case they want to still do some grinding.
And looks like RPGamer finding the Pain Man, taking up residence in the Vanilla Plague location.
I'm so glad that name caught on in our community.
Yeah, Dark Knight Sissel with that Dark Wave attack really does bring the pain.
Justice is not the only right in this world. Someday you will see. Also, RPGamer getting a clutch last-second life off on Palom in order to get some more levels. Pretty good move.
Yeah, it's a nice little thing. Not a huge XP spot there, but every little bit can help. We're seeing some resetting. It looks like lufloof might not have remembered exactly which floor the double dragon fight is in, so going back and making sure we get to the right one without wasting sirens. That was the...
No, don't use it there. No. Yeah, you can't use sirens in doorways. They don't have random encounters to select from, so it doesn't work.
You do get a sweet lightning bolt sound effect, though. I know I've definitely made that exact play that lufloof did. using it in that specific doorway. Bacon Pie, do you lose the siren? Yes, you do.
Yeah, so for those who... I would doubt if you're watching this tournament that you've never seen Free Enterprise before, but in case you're wondering, Lufloof is going to be looking for somewhere around 2200 HP on his White Mage in order to basically make it less likely that his White Mage gets one shot by Big Bangs. That's the kind of the magic number.
You can mitigate that by having really good equipment on the White Mage. We found a Protect Ring, we found a Ribbon. If you have something like a Sorcerer Robe or something like that, that can help as well. And all those things can really make it so that it's not a guarantee, of course, that you'll survive a full-powered Big Bang, but it makes it relatively safer to go at a lower HP than that 2200.
Yeah, definitely. And RPGamer finding the guards. They are susceptible to status effects. I'm not thinking that we're going to see any. She's just going to power through with the damage. But RPGamer is at some very good levels. So
she did use an hourglass on this fight. So
that is free.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why they're not countering with their size and piggy spells, and not punching at all. Yeah, so the fact that she fought all these bosses on the moon, that's basically making up for her grind. So she probably won't have to do this double dragon grind that we're seeing Lufloof do, because she's fought all these bosses. Like this one in particular is a huge HP or experience boss. A sweet 200k for that fight. Yeah, Point Drag, they haven't found a great deal, but they do have a Ribbon and a Protect Ring.
Yeah, and RPGamer is going to be at a kind of a big disadvantage going into Zeromus because unless she regrinds, she's not going to have a White Mage, meaning basically we're going to look at some chemistry happening and or just relying on the damage to just brute force through the fight.
Yeah, and now remember, she did see that there are Tier 3s available in Toria. So, and we know that she's going to have to go back to the Blue Planet at some point because she's going to have to turn in that Sand Ruby. So hopefully, if she doesn't want to grind up that twin, and I don't blame her for not doing it after we've got all these levels on everybody else, then yeah, she'll have to probably rely on Tier 3s.
Bacon Pie in the chat is asking if there's no adamant in this tournament. That's correct. There is no adamant armor in this tournament. Basically, it makes you have to not make some hard decisions about your Zeromus fight. So we do have adamant armor turned off. If you were to get the Pinktail and turn it in, it would just give you any of the other top tier items from the game, the treasure pool, basically.
And now RPGamer is in that Karate Man fight, so not going to be too much longer before she has that objective complete, and hopefully she'll recognize that she has that item, the Sand Ruby, in her inventory. And we get the Kane or Cecil hitting Yang after the second kick, which it makes him say "ouch" and die.
Wow, RPGamer just got Medio on her Quake Kid. That's some pretty impressive levels.
Yeah, get Medio just a little bit away from Nuke. And RPGamer has officially full cleared the moon.
Yeah, that's a big old exit here, and the unfortunate part about this snafu with the Sand Ruby is that Lufloof is now still at the bottom of the moon and doesn't have to walk very far to get back to Zeromus, whereas RPGamer is going to have to walk through the entire lunar subterranean again.
Yeah, this is sometimes what's referred to in the community as the walk of shame, where you have to walk all the way down in order to get to Zeromus instead of taking the shortcut via the pass. Get cooped. I'm hoping that she goes oops and doesn't try to go to other locations like the bosses of the Fey March or something like that.
RPGamer buying some Starveils just for the heck of it now. We've already fought Wyvern and Golbez, which are the two most useful bosses to have them for, but you know, you're there, you've got the cash, not much else you're looking for besides Bacchus wine, buy some.
But that can be useful in the Zeromus fight if you're planning on reflecting any magic. So if you're going to get Palm up to the point where he learns Nuke, and you want to reflect nukes against him, Starveils are the way to go.
Yeah, RPGamer did decide to keep her Black Mage, so that could be a strategy to kind of maybe get a little extra damage in the Z fight. I would expect both of these players are going to go for Berserker strategies, though, mostly.
Well, it's going to be tough for actual Berserking if you don't have access to Berserk spell or Bacchus wine. That's what RPGamer is troubled with. Looks like she's going to Kaipo. Looks like she does remember she has that Sand Ruby. So she'll be getting her crystal very shortly. Provided the NPCs get out of her way.
See, so now we see these different strategies have kind of paid off because we see Lufloof is still grinding. RPGamer doesn't have that much grinding to do thanks to those extra boss battles. They could still be very close to each other. And there's that last objective for RPGamer and the crystal.
And decides to go without Aurum. So gonna be going with this party, it looks like.
You know, I never really feel on balance when I don't have a white mage going to Zeromus. You have to change the way you're doing the fight quite a bit to account for that.
Yeah, it's a lot more careful of a fight that you have to do. Unless you level up to ridiculously high levels, which is an option. Looks like she is heading to Kokol's Forge. Gonna get that Excalibur, and we're gonna get a shop check here, I'm guessing. Tiara is a very nice helmet for any of the female characters that are not in her party.
Now, the good thing about RPGamer here, going back to the Blue Planet, is she is going to have Excalibur on Cecil. You would be surprised how fast you could get the Zeromus fight done if you only concentrate with Cecil, because we do not have Bacchus wines, meaning you're really only going to be able to berserk one, maybe two characters at once. You can't go full press like you'd like to in this situation. That character is going to be Cecil.
Power robes for sale in the in Kokol's hut.
Lufloof leaving really nothing to chance here. This grind has been intense. Really gonna make sure he really doesn't want to wipe to Zeromus, so is getting a lot of double dragon battles out of the way. I mean, we have 4,000 HP on Cecil and Kane.
You know, I say if you're not comfortable and you've got the opportunity to grind to a higher level, don't take the chance. Like, do what's comfortable for you.
RPGamer was looking something in Troy's shop, I think, or I'm blanking on the town name, but
Tomra.
I think still Tomra. Had not checked Tomra before, so didn't know if maybe there were Bacchus wines there.
Yeah, the other thing is, I'm not sure if she remembers exactly what those Cure 3s were, so might have been hoping that they were there.
Yeah, so this is going to be a tough Z fight for RPGamer. No White Mage, no method of getting Berserk status, so really just going to be relying on like regular attacks, maybe a few reflected nukes, and throwing a whole lot of Cure 3s. So I'm very interested to see the strategy she takes during the Z fight for sure.
Hopefully she remembers that they are in before heading back to the blue planet, or excuse me, back to the moon, so that she does have that decent source of healing.
Yeah, so right now it's basically just a grind race, and whoever has the faster Z fight.
Yeah, the fact that lufloof has the White Mage that's also getting leveled up with all this is going to make it so that I think he's got a bit safer of a strategy, and he's also right there. That's the other thing. It looks like he's satisfied with this grind, is heading down to the bottom of the lunar core. It's going to be going towards Zeramis fight. And that means that we've got a question that we've got to ask, don't we, Botas?
We do. And in the community, we like to say a certain thing. Some of you will have the emote to match, but we like to say, whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
Absolutely. It is butt time. Fly your Z flags. Because we are going to see what the Z sprite is.
We do have a completely randomized pool of alternate sprites for Zeromus, which have been put into the game, many of which have been produced by our own Scala Kitty, who is one of the workshop helpers for the Free Enterprise community, and they are all amazing, so we're excited to see who we've got tonight.
And it does look like RPGamer did head over to Toria, so remembered where she needed to go to get those Tier 3s. And looks like she is ready to head back up to the moon, so she's going to be a little bit behind lufloof. So I think lufloof's got a little bit of an edge, but it's going to be close. This is going to be a tight finish here.
No, he doesn't have any edge.
Oh yeah, you've got that right. RPGamer has edge.
Yeah, I think with the RPGamer needs lufloof to wipe here, and that's very unlikely from where I'm sitting looking at his party. And if Bacchus wines existed, I would say this Z fight would be over in no time at all, too. But unfortunately, not.
Yeah, that would have been, with the characters that we had available to us in this seed, Bacchus wines would have made a huge difference. And we've got the Yellow Devil.
Will Durfeer in chat asking, did they add the landing spot right in front of the Lunar Palace? Yes, in fact, that's a quality of life improvement in Free Enterprise. You can land anywhere on the moon that doesn't have a big rock on it, just because we didn't figure there's any reason to make you walk through all those caves whenever you go to the moon.
But we do make you walk all the way down to the bottom of... You win some, you lose some.
Yeah, and I think you'll find if you compare Final Fantasy games, the Lunar Subterrane is one of like the largest and most labyrinthine final dungeons in the series.
Bacon Pie, I agree. It was a nightmare as a kid. I don't think I ever beat it when I was a kid. That's for sure.
Wow, Lufloof even using Quick on Kane. Interesting. You don't really see that too often because the white magic spells that affect your stats, such as speed, defense, and magic defense, are very, how should I say this, extremely underpowered compared to their item versions. So it's trying to just eke out all the damage you can here.
Cure 4, on the other hand, is a great healing spell.
Yeah, Cure 4 is pretty amazing, and this is, if I'm not mistaken, the first Final Fantasy game that had Cure 4, aka Curaja.
Oh, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've played Final Fantasy 3. You may be right. All right, so Lufloof is bashing pretty well in this fight, and right as RPGamer has just entered the fight, and she's at a very high level as well. So both parties are very strong. Remember, the big difference is going to be the lack of Cure 4 and the lack of an agility anchor, but there's more people who can attack on RPGamer's side.
Yeah, and I think this is where it just shows you how crazy Free Enterprise can be, because these two players took very different paths, made very different routing decisions, and here they are still in the final battle at the same time.
Mm-hmm. One other thing that RPGamer has that Lufloof doesn't have is that spoon that can be darted.
Yeah, and RPGamer really is going to be relying on a DPS fight here. She really, her only source of healing is Cure 3s, of which she only has 14, and there's no method to Berserk, so...
And rocks are falling on Lufloof's screen. Well, there's a freeze, but I think it's because of a... it's probably because of a flash with that much damage in medium phase. And yeah, Yellowhouse is going down. GG's to Lufloof for winning this race.
That's the first finish for Loof in this tournament with a time of 1 hour, 45 minutes, and 30 seconds. GG's to Loof.
Very well played. Very close race in this. As RPGamer in the Zero Miss fight as Lufloof finishes the run. Bacon Pie, yes, the first runs of this tournament were today. Earlier this afternoon, we had our very first one. This is the third one to start.
You know, and I have heard that some of the other races today were quite close as well. It's very good. And on the first day of our first 1v1 event, we get so many races that are so exciting.
Yeah, this one, another one of the very exciting races. This was very close, very fun to see, and it looks like RPGamer wants to finish this one out, and I don't blame her.
Yeah, if I'm in the Zeromus fight, there's no way I'm gonna stop unless I think I'm just gonna hit my head against the Zeromus wall.
Yeah, and he deserves it. And so far, it doesn't seem like the lack of a white mage has been hurting RPGamer in this fight.
Yeah, RPGamer knew the strategy she was going to have to use when she came in here, so she's being very cautious, healing up when she needs. She knows when characters are in the danger zone from a combined Big Bang into Medio or Big Bang into a direct nuke. It's very good play here. You can tell she really knows Zeromus's actions and how the Z fight works.
And we're going to see if we can't get lufloof in for an interview as well. So we're working on that.
Looks like we had a little source error on the stream. The end splash screen went to RPGamer instead of lufloof. So we're trying to get that the stream back up for her so we can see her finish.
Maybe she just decided, well, she knew that she wasn't winning this, so she just cut, maybe? I don't know. But what I do know is that we had a great team on our side running this tonight. We had the great Maggie the Cat doing the tracking, the wonderful Poidrak doing our restreaming today, and I got to run with Lore Master Motas, so that's always fun.
Yeah, always good to work with such a great team. And everybody in chat, give a hand to Poidrak. This is Poidrak's first night restreaming. Did a pretty awesome job. And we do have behind the scenes here from the SRR Race channel. RPG did finish with a time of 1 hour, 50 minutes, and 45 seconds. Has just had a hiccup on her stream, but did finish. GG's to her as well.
Yeah, very close race. Just 5 minutes between our two runners tonight. That's a very, very close time. Well played by both of them navigating through this seed.
Yeah, so if you're more interested in this tournament, we have like multiple races going on every day. So races are happening here. They're happening at the RPG Limit Break channel, and they're happening at the Free Enterprise channel. And if you want, the schedule has been linked in the chat, but we'll see if we can get it linked again. Check it out for sure. It's too late to enter as a racer, but there are going to be a very interesting amount of races, especially since this is the first time we've done 1v1.
Yeah, there's basically going to be a bunch of races almost every night. We're going to do our best to get as many of them restreamed as possible. So just keep an eye on all three of these networks, and we'll see as many as that we can get for you.
And before we go here, we have managed to get Loof here in the interview booth. Loof, first off, GG's on your win tonight, and how'd you feel about your pathing decisions and strategies tonight?
Oh, sorry, I was setting up my audio. I didn't miss the start of the whole conversation. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. We're just wondering, how did you feel about the seed tonight?
Well, I think I actually lucked out somehow. This is actually the first time I speedrun anything. That was simply a weird attempt from me. While just trying stuff from the basement and never checking what everybody else does. And basically, I went to the old run thinking, okay, I'm going to improvise depending on what the seed gives me. And somewhat, I kept taking the right decision despite sometimes making very weird decisions. Like skipping the Antlion cave for at the beginning of the run and stuff like that. And also I just love starting with Palom. So that was a fun seed for me, and I really hope that Pals also had fun with that seed. I think the race was very close. I think it was 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Okay, so that was very close, and I really hope that that Falls actually managed to play it well, and I only lucked out because I don't think I'm a good player or anything. That's actually the first time I played it, and it shows. I think it showed a lot at the beginning. I did make a lot of mistakes. I was really stressed out, especially. Sorry for everyone that the delay on the stream, and now that was kind of on me for joining too late and not being totally prepared. So I was really stressed out at the beginning of the run, and I think it showed.
Well, maybe at the beginning of the run, but you seemed to get into a groove in the middle of it, and you ended up playing pretty well. So the one thing that I had a question, if this was your strategy going in, was when you did the Tower of Zot, you decided to go only up halfway, get the tower, the cannon room, and then you left, and then you were able to get the pan out of that, and everything worked out for you. Was that your plan to just go halfway through, or what made you make that decision?
That was total improvisation. Basically, I tried to do the bomb. Bomb went really bad, and I was like, oh, I'm probably not strong enough to do whatever's at the top of the Tower of Babel. So I just went, well, I might do the stop. I do have the tower key. Let's just do the stop to the tower key just in case I get something good. And I see the tower, I get the pan. That was very lucky of me. Seriously.
I think that may have been where you made up some of the time against RPGamer, because she did the full tower and you only did half of it. So that was everything that she did above the middle of it was stuff that you didn't have to do. And I don't think that's the entire 5 minutes or anything like that, but that's one of the places where you did something that was definitely saved you time over her in this race. So I wanted to bring that up because I thought that was an interesting choice, and that makes sense. You just fought the mom bomb. It smacked you around pretty hard. And so then you're like, I got to beat something that I know that I can beat, and hopefully it'll help. As it turned out, it did. So, that's thinking on your feet, knowing what you've got available to you and making good sense of it. That's good routing, I think.
And that was improvisation. And the other thing is, I'm not used to do a lot of shopping. I used to play mostly on Catalyte, so cabins only. So I'm not used to always go to shops and check what is available. And right after using the pan, getting everything, I'm there. I still can do Mom Bomb, and I said, oh well, you know what? I haven't checked the item shop in the Dwarf Castle. So I checked. There's the sirens.
And you see the sirens, yeah.
I should have done that before. I wouldn't have had any problem doing anything if I would have seen the sirens earlier. So some little mistakes here and there that I'm going to try to learn from.
Well, I want to once again congratulate you, GG's, on your first finish in the first of your Swiss matches. So you're off to a great start. I wish you luck in the rest of your races. Do you have any final thoughts on this run tonight?
Wish the best of luck to Pals. Really hope that you get to win some games too. And I hope everyone enjoyed this. This was quite quite strange from me. Well, I hope to be entertaining for the rest of the tournament.
All right. Well, thanks again, lufloof, and GG's and good luck.
Thanks.
All right, I want to go ahead and thank my co-commentator Rex Raul for all the good back and forth tonight. Our restream report Jack, great job, first time, and our tracker Maggie the cat, who was willing to shuffle around a bit tonight so that we could have a full team and no one was pulling double duty. We really appreciate it. Now we are going to send you all over to the match in progress on a different channel. So stick around. There's more Free Enterprise coming up.
Bye, everybody.